Hey Star Trek fans, Dan Gunther here. Welcome to another week in Trek. This week we have a rundown of what is happening Star Trek-wise at the upcoming San Diego Comic-Con, as well as some casting news for the upcoming Starfleet Academy television series. Without further ado, let's get to the news.
I promised the Federation News Service a first-hand account of the battle.
You'll get it.
This weekend is the yearly Nerd Fest, that is, the San Diego Comic-Con, and as has been the case for the past several years, Star Trek is a big part of the event. The highlight of the Star Trek content at SDCC is a 90-minute panel in Hall H, the show's largest stage, where updates will be given for all of the currently running and upcoming Star Trek projects on Paramount+. Alex Kurtzman, the head of Star Trek television operations at Paramount, will be in attendance for all parts of the presentation, along with representatives from each series, and the entire panel will be moderated by filmmaker Justin Simeon. First up is Star Trek Strange New Worlds, featuring a panel with cast members Anson Mount, Rebecca Romaine, and Ethan Peck, along with executive producers Alex Kurtzman, Akiva Goldsman, and Henry Alonzo Myers. Star Trek Lower Decks is up second, with cast members Tawny Newsome, Jack Quaid, Noel Wells, and Jerry O'Connell, along with creator and executive producer Mike McMahon. Following that is a panel on Star Trek Starfleet Academy, where Alex Kurtzman will be joined by executive producer and co-showrunner Noga Landau. And finally, the upcoming streaming film Star Trek Section 31 will be featured, with cast members Omari Hardwick, Sam Richardson, and Casey Roll, along with director Olatunde Osunsanmi. I'm sure there will be tons of news to learn from this Hall H panel, and while I'm sure there will also be a few surprises, here's what I'm hoping to see. First, all of the trailers. Give me a trailer for Season 3 of Strange New Worlds, Season 5 of Lower Decks, and definitely a trailer for Section 31. If I'm being honest, perhaps the trailer for Strange New Worlds is a bit premature. I doubt they have a trailer ready to go for that yet, but I definitely think there will be one for Lower Decks, and as we reported in the Positively Trek podcast a few weeks ago, there has been a trailer produced without music for Section 31, which has been making the rounds over at Paramount, so I'm pretty sure we'll see the finished version of that trailer at San Diego. I'm also thinking that there isn't enough done yet for Starfleet Academy to give us a trailer, but maybe some behind-the-scenes tidbits and a sneak peek at the much-touted Academy Atrium set that is supposed to be the largest standing set ever built for a Star Trek production. I also really want to know the release dates for at least Lower Decks Season 5 and Section 31, as it seems that these will be the next two Star Trek productions released by Paramount+. I feel it's very likely we will get release dates for at least one, if not both of those. Now, if you're in attendance at SDCC, the Star Trek Hall H panel will be on Saturday, July 27th at 1:45 p.m. I personally will be glued to my computer at that time waiting for updates, so those of you in attendance, don't fail me. Tweet everything as soon as you know it. Now, the big panel in Hall H isn't the only Star Trek content at San Diego. We have also learned that there will be a Star Trek Prodigy panel on Sunday, July 28th from 10 to 11 a.m. in room 6DE. Moderated by Ryan Britt, the panel will feature a screening of a Season 2 episode of Prodigy, followed by a conversation with Kate Mulgrew, Brett Gray, and executive producers Kevin and Dan Hageman. The discussion will of course focus on Season 2 of the show currently streaming on Netflix. However, my dream is that we will also learn that Netflix has fallen in love with the series and greenlit at least 3 more seasons of the show. Too much? Probably, but I can dream. There is also another panel featuring Star Trek, which I covered in last week's Week in Trek, a collaboration between Star Trek boss Alex Kurtzman and Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies on Saturday, July 27th at 5:30 p.m. in room 6A, ostensibly to kick off an intergalactic friendship day. Definitely curious to see what comes out of this panel. See last week's video for some unlikely speculation on that front. And finally, on the show floor at SDCC, you can check out the Star Trek Menagerie booth. Here's the official description of that booth. Behold the Star Trek Menagerie booth on the convention floor, displaying creatures across renowned Star Trek properties. Come one and all to get an up-close look at exciting specimens from Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Lower Decks, Star Trek Picard, Star Trek The Original Series, and more. Become part of the menagerie yourself as you enter the human display for an immersive photo opportunity. An SDCC badge is required for entry, booth number 3529. We here at Kertrats Productions will be sending our team of roving reporters to cover all aspects of the event and bring you the news as soon as we learn it. Just kidding, we don't have the budget for that. I'll just be keeping the Twitter streams of both TrekCore and Trek Movie on constant refresh, like everyone else. Moving on to Starfleet Academy news, 2 new cadets have been announced for the newest Star Trek live-action series. Kareem Diane and Zoe Steiner have both joined the cast, joining the 3 that were announced last week. This is what Paramount had to say about these 2 new actors in their official announcement of the casting. Diane recently starred in the hit series One of Us is Lying and opposite Gabori Sidibe in 1266. He will next be heard in the This American Life podcast in the episode Africanus. Diane is a Ghanaian singer and actor who started his career as a contestant on The X Factor. After a series of short films in early 2017, Diane landed his first recurring role in the 2nd season of the series Startup. Steiner recently made her professional debut in the lead role of Hannah in Significant Others. Born and raised in Melbourne, Steiner was drawn to cinema and the films of old Hollywood from a young age. Upon graduating from 16th Street Actors Studio in Melbourne, Zoe studied intensively under Leonard Pettit at the Michael Chekhov Acting Studio in New York. She is trained with Carl Ford, Lisa Robertson, Ian Sinclair, and Les Chanteri. She is committed to raw, truthful storytelling. She holds a Bachelor of Arts from the University of Melbourne. With this latest announcement, the cast of Starfleet Academy is finally starting to really fill out. We will of course bring you any new casting news as soon as we learn it, along with any new developments as we get closer to the release of Starfleet Academy. Factory Entertainment has unveiled its latest high-end prop replica, and this one will help you to diagnose all manner of alien maladies. A gorgeous replica of Dr. Crusher's medical tricorder, complete with lights, sounds, and a ton of very cool functionality. The tricorder comes in at a weighty 1.4 pounds and is cast in metal alloy. The detachable hand scanner is made of machined aluminum, held in place to the main body with magnets. The screen features a digital display that can show 3 separate animated scan readouts, and the tricorder is charged via USB. Factory Entertainment has put a ton of thought and innovation into their design, which means it doesn't come cheap. The medical tricorder will retail for $799.99 US, with a $50 deposit required if you want to pre-order it at factoryent.com, where it is currently available for pre-order. It is expected to ship in late 2024. The prototype will be available for viewing at this weekend's San Diego Comic-Con, so if you happen to be there, definitely go and check it out. Finally, I want to end this week's news segment with some award nominations and wins for Star Trek. First up, the nominations for the 76th Annual Emmy Awards have been announced, and there are 2 nominations for Star Trek shows, both thanks to supremely talented sound editing teams. In the category of Outstanding Sound Editing for a Comedy or Drama Series 1 Hour, the Strange New Worlds Season 2 finale Hegemony was nominated, joining the shows Avatar: The Last Airbender, Fallout, Shogun, and 3 Body Problem. And in Outstanding Sound Editing for a Comedy or Drama Series Half Hour and Animation, the Star Trek Lower Decks episode The Inner Fight has picked up a nomination, with its competition being Ahsoka, The Bear, Blue Eye Samurai, and Only Murders in the Building. Congratulations on both of these nominations, and best of luck to the sound editing teams for Star Trek Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks. The winners will be announced on Saturday, September 14th on FXX. Now, speaking of Lower Decks, both that show and Star Trek Prodigy have won awards in the inaugural Collision Awards. The Collision Awards was introduced just this year to be, quote, the first global and holistic platform solely dedicated to honoring excellence in animation and motion design in all its forms. Star Trek Lower Decks won the Gold Prize in the category of Comedy Television Series. Meanwhile, Star Trek Prodigy also won a Gold Prize in the category of Kids and Family Television Series. The winners of the Collision Awards are selected by a jury of experts across animation and motion design. The awards will be celebrated at the Eleanor Bunin Monroe Film Center at the Lincoln Center in New York on July 23rd with a screening and reception for the winners. Congratulations to both Prodigy and Lower Decks on their wins.
I never really cared for science fiction. I guess I just didn't get it.
It's a big week for Star Trek releases with a new novel, a new graphic novel, and a comic release out this week. First up is a new Star Trek The Original Series novel by Greg Cox, and this is one I've really been looking forward to. Here's the back cover blurb for Lost to Eternity. 3 eras, 3 mysteries, 1 ancient enemy? 2024. Almost 40 years ago, marine biologist Gillian Taylor stormed away from her dream job at Sausalito's Cetacean Institute and was never seen or heard from again. Now, a new true crime podcast has reopened that cold case, but investigator Melinda Silver has no idea that her search for the truth about Gillian's disappearance will ultimately stretch across time and space and attract the attention of a ruthless obsessive with his own secret agenda. 2268. The USS Enterprise's 5-year mission is interrupted when Captain James T. Kirk and his crew set out to recover an abducted Federation scientist whose classified secrets are being sought by the Klingons as well. The trail leads to a barbaric world off-limits to both Starfleet and the Klingon Empire, and an ageless mastermind on a quest for eternity. 2292. The Osori, an ancient alien species, has finally agreed to establish relations with its much younger neighbors, the Federation, the Klingons, and the Romulans. A joint mission involving ships from all 3 powers, including the Enterprise A, turns explosive when one of the Osori envoys is apparently killed. Each side blames the others, but the truth lies buried deep, nearly 300 years in the past. Like I said, I've really been looking forward to this one. Star Trek IV is a great film, and I love the idea of following up on Gillian Taylor. Lost to Eternity is out on Tuesday, July 23rd. Also out on the 23rd is the next graphic novel comic collection from IDW. Star Trek Picard's Academy Commit No Mistakes collects all 6 issues of the Picard's Academy comic miniseries, which came out in late 2023, continuing until February 2024. It is written by Sam Maggs with art by Ornella Greco. Here's the synopsis. Before becoming the Federation's finest, Jean-Luc was an ordinary student at Starfleet Academy with sights on the stars. His path forward was charted: blow his classmates out of the water on the infamous Evasive Maneuvers exam and graduate early. But there's a detail Cadet Picard hadn't factored into his plan. The exam was a group project, and he'd need to make friends with, people, if he stood a chance at passing. Federation starships aren't run by a party of one after all. During the training exercise, Picard accidentally puts the lives of himself and 2 of his classmates, Doc and Marty, in danger. But using skills he gained on the farm, Picard manages to pull them out at the last minute, saving their lives and impressing his teachers. Links to purchase both of these releases are in the video description. On Wednesday, July 24th, the next issue in the ongoing Star Trek Defiant comic series comes out, beginning a new storyline for Worf and his renegade crew. Here's the synopsis for Star Trek Defiant number 17 from IDW. Enter a brand new arc, and the beginning of a new era for the disavowed, mercenary crew of the USS Defiant. Political corruption ensues as Sela and her father, General Revo, leverage the imprisoned Defiant crewmates to kidnap the Romulan Praetor and chairman of Tal Shiar Intelligence to advance their sinister plot to take over Romulus. Definitely looking forward to some sinister Romulan machinations over the next few issues. Defiant number 17 is written by Christopher Cantwell with art by Angel Unzueta. And that's it for This Week in Trek. Thanks as always to the Patreon supporters. To everyone else, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications for new videos. Join us next week for a rundown of what I'm sure will be a packed weekend for Star Trek at the San Diego Comic-Con. I'll definitely be bringing you all the news from San Diego, as well as looking ahead to Creation's Las Vegas Star Trek convention the weekend after. See you then, and as always, live long and prosper.